be so
Probably
sad.
live right now. And now everybody knows we're not going to be serious.
Please.
So as we're rolling live, and as our friends in the digital world, wherever you may be, are tuning in. Yeah, hey guys.
Hey.
Hello.
All right. People are coming in.
All
I'm
right.
so excited. Another social hour. I got Jaci Kipreos, Melissa Kirshner with me. Hey guys, how are you?
All right.
I'm good.
Yeah. It's a rainy day, total fall day here in Utah. I wish I could point my webcam to the mountains because the leaves are amazing. It's like fire red. You guys would love it.
Beautiful. Do you have snow up there on those mountaintops?
There is a dusking at the very top. And okay, since you brought that up. So Jaci, there's this peak. So if you have never been to Utah, everything kind of runs through a corridor along the mountain range.
Yep.
And so no matter where you live, it's really easy to get into the mountains, and they are legitimate big mountains. Yes.
I haven't been yet.
You've never been to Utah?
No.
It's beautiful.
They've never
Absolutely.
invited me to the home office.
Okay.
There's so much to do there.
Yes. There's soda and nuts for snacking in the home office.
Yes.
You just want to stuff your pockets and
Yes.
snack away.
It is fabulous there. So you've got some dusting on top.
Yeah, and there's a radar tower at the top of one, like this military radar tower, and people drive their side by sides up through there. It's really beautiful. It's a long trip, but I've talked to a buddy of mine, and if the weather permits on Friday, we're going to ride our bikes to the top. I did that with my son last year, and it was fun. It's fun to see your kids suffer in a controlled environment and see them push themselves. So anyways, I love it. It's really, it's kind of a transcendent feeling to be on top of these huge mountains.
It is
looking down. It's just amazing.
amazing. We do it on motorcycle, not bicycle, and it is still amazing up there just to get that whole feeling of being basically on top of the world. It was a Carpenter song, right?
Is it?
It was.
The Carpenters.
Okay.
I won't sing it, I promise.
I was going to say, now I'm going to start singing
At
it.
least it's a decent song, I didn't put a bad song in your mind.
Missy, remind me, you're in the Midwest.
Yep,
Michigan?
I'm right outside Detroit.
Okay. Do you feel fall coming in your area? Is it cooling off?
Definitely. It is so cold here already. No snow yet, but the temperature definitely has that bite in the air. Winter is coming.
Mhm.
Yeah. Jaci, how about you in Virginia? Are you in Virginia this
Today
week?
I'm in San Diego.
Okay.
I just got back Monday. So in Virginia, it started to cool down Saturday morning. The mornings were like mid to high 40s. San Diego, our days are gorgeous. I think September, October, and November, I think, are the most beautiful times to be in San Diego because we still get some change in the trees. And the weather during the day is in the 70s, beautiful 70s, and it's nice, crisp enough to wear a jacket. Morning is just, an extra sweatshirt. It's a beautiful time of year here. And it starts off cloudy, and then the sun will break. I have to look out the window. The ocean fog will kind of wear off, and we get the sun that'll come in and about. By the time we wrap up, it'll be sunshine.
Let us know how things are in your neck of the woods, everybody. Lady Martinez says that California weather is the best, and San Diego is breathtaking.
It is.
Yeah. Now we are very close to mid-October. That means there are only about 2 weeks left or so for you to figure out what you're wearing for Halloween.
I know.
Do you guys?
Are you going to tell?
Yeah.
Okay, what are you going to be for Halloween?
So we have friends who have an annual sushi party, And it's the weekend closest to Halloween. And my husband's one of the guys that goes and rolls the sushi. And you bring a dish, but you do dress up. Now, I don't know if anyone at the party will recognize who we are, but I'm going as Miss Maisel because I want the vintage outfit I'm going to buy. And I will do the wig, the whole thing. And my husband, wonderful man, said he'll be Susie. So he'll be my Susie. I'm going to get him the hat and the cigar, the big vest. He'll pat himself up. He's going to be Susie and I will be Maisel.
All right.
I love it.
I might have to walk around with a brisket. I don't know.
Do you go into are you completely at home, Jackie? Do you ever go into an office these days?
Don't even make those suggestions.
Okay.
No,
All right.
we don't have an office here.
Okay.
And so this is my office. This is it. And that's why it's blurred, because Alex made the comment like 3 weeks ago that I had a messy office. I've blurred it out since then.
Yes. Yeah. I'm reminded of the things I say. Ray does the same thing to me.
No, I said it was
So-
messy and you just commented that you couldn't disagree.
So I work in an office
Yes.
and you both know Kelly Shue because Kelly
Yeah.
and I work together. And I was out of the office on a Friday. I was at a conference. And when I came in on Monday, Shue had gotten everybody that was still in the office that Friday. They completely transformed the office. I've got ghosts hanging from the ceiling.
Oh,
I've got skeletons all over the place. I've got
fun.
pumpkins. My office, it looks so cool out there. It's awesome.
I love that. Now, are you dressing up for Halloween?
I will be Flo from Progressive.
Love.
I just
love
made my
that.
little coveralls.
Cute. That's so
So,
cute. Alex.
and my husband is going to be Jake from State Farm.
Oh, and y'all can battle down.
Exactly.
Love that. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Alex, what are you doing?
I don't.
Okay.
But okay, I want to share. I used to work for Intermountain Healthcare. If you're
Yes.
familiar, or I
Yes,
guess
yeah.
they're called. I don't know what they're called now. Something. Anyways, they've changed their name. And I worked in the prenatal healthy pregnancy program.
Sweet.
And I'm going to share my screen.
Dress
Is a
up as a
friend.
pregnant woman.
What's that? Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
dress up as a pregnant woman.
Yeah. I'm gonna share my screen and let's see here. So you guys can see what we did. It was a lot of fun. Okay. So we did this.
Whoa.
That's
That
awesome.
This is
so
the team.
good.
Yeah. So that was a ton of fun.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's
And-
fantastic.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm gonna stop that share. Oh, let me
Wow.
turn it off. Anyway, so I mean, I grew up loving Kiss and all that crazy stuff. So, and that was a fun thing to do. I can't believe we talked the whole team into that, but
Sure.
we did. Yeah.
That's
So maybe I do this because maybe we can have Missy be Ace Frehley and Jackie can be Gene Simmons.
Sure. In a heart.
We'll maybe in Las Vegas we can do a 80s rock
Sure.
party.
I can. We
There
can
you
do.
go.
We'll do it. We can do a sing along on stage. I can lip sync. Yeah.
I'm in. Throw me in.
There
No
And I know you
problem.
can get Dave to do it as well. He's game.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yes,
hey, game on.
yes. Hey,
Well,
As
we
long
have-
as you don't make me sing Celine Dion, we're good.
We could do Battle of the Bands, and we have 2 sets dressing up in different bands.
I like that. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Hey, real quick, guys, we have Zoe and Lee. They're waiting to come in. I'm gonna bring them in right now.
All right.
Kimberly will be joining us soon. I've been messaging with her.
Right?
And let's see, we got Lee. Hey, Lee. Hey, Zoe.
Hello, how are you?
I am amazing. Hey, Zoe, do you know Jackie and Missy?
I
We've done these things before.
Zoe's never been on here. This is Zoe's first appearance.
Oh, well
Yeah.
then,
Zoe,
no.
welcome.
Welcome,
Thank
Zoe.
you.
My bad.
And Zoe, you can also see on the screen Lee Fifield from our publishing team. I don't know if you worked with her on your article.
Yes, we do a little back and forth. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Renee, but I definitely edited your article. Very
So
good.
Lee knows Zoe. Zoe may not know Lee.
That's correct.
Excellent article. Fabulous
Yes.
article.
I want to dig into that, and I think it's a great one, especially if you are a newly certified coder. We want to hear, you want to stick around and hear what Zoe has to say. But first, we want to get to know Zoe a little bit. Zoe, tell us about yourself, where you're from, how long you've been in the business, how long have you been an AAPC member, all of it.
Okay, well, I've been a part of AAPC for probably 8 years. I've been working in like the billing field for 7 years. I'm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and yeah, I've kind of specialized myself with orthopedics. That's been my bubble, I like to call it. Has been orthopedics, and I've been working in just all aspects of revenue cycle. And for the past couple of years, I've really been focusing on coding, and I'm actually a coding supervisor, but I'm a working supervisor. So I do actually do coding myself, as well as managing other departments with coding.
Right.
Yeah.
If I recall right, you have 2 certifications. Is that right?
I do. I have my CPC and the COSC.
Remind me what the COSC is.
That is the Certified Orthopedic Surgical Coder.
Okay, there you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Do you enjoy management, Zoe?
I do. I really enjoy, taking the initiative, leading a team. My time working in the field, I feel like I've been very fortunate to be promoted rather quickly, just because I've always been the person, I don't like to present a problem without a solution at the same time. And so, that's really worked in my favor, and I've been presented these opportunities, and I love, leading a team and also being a part of the team too, and kind of just being in there with everyone. I understand I'm going through the same thing they're going through, and we really get to work together.
Awesome. Anybody on our panel here, do you guys have questions for Zoe? Like, am I missing anything that we need to ask her to really know her? No. Okay. All right, Zoe, my next question, why did you write this article? And if for those who are watching, this article is in the October edition of Healthcare Business Monthly, page 48, tips for newly certified coders. You are not newly certified anymore. Something inspired you.
So, I was inspired to write this article because I remember when I started out, and, you're excited because you're, starting this journey of a whole new career. And it's like, where do I begin? And I think a lot of times we almost have this expectation of, all right, we got this certification, now we can immediately become a coder and jump in. And that's not always the case. For some of us, yeah, it is. And that's amazing. But a lot of us, we kind of have to do some other roles, kind of, the step ladder to get us to that coding role that we want. And I wanted to kind of showcase that to people and say, it's okay to do something different that's still in the realm. And maybe, you don't realize that it still counts and can help you to get to where you want to be in that coding job that you want. You wouldn't associate patient services or the front desk with coding because that's not the billing department, but that's your gateway. That can be your entrance. If you prove yourself there, it can get you to, a management role at some point in coding. Everything matters and everything counts. And yeah, I really wanted to highlight that for people, so they had some more realistic expectations and that they can, broaden their search when they're looking on Indeed or, wherever, LinkedIn, all the different platforms that we have available to us.
Yes. So as you say that, Zoe, there are 2 stories. I remember speaking with Gina Piccarelli on her I Am AAPC interview, but you can find that on our YouTube channel. But she spoke about someone she had met who, when she was coding in a facility, she was in the cafeteria line, and she met someone who had just received their certification, their CPC, and they were trying to break in, but they made that. I mean, like it felt like they were very far from coding by working in food services, but that relationship that she made with Gina kind of helped break down those barriers. And Ray, our very own Ray Marie Jimenez, our vice president of product, I think she started as a medical records clerk. Is that right? Jackie, you would know better than me. I think that's right.
Yes. Ray started out. Yes, she did. She started in a practice. Yes, it's similar like I did too. You learn all the jobs. Mhm.
Exactly. That's the same thing for me. I started call center, then authorizations, then I did AR, and then into coding. And that was just the way the cookie crumbled. But you're learning so much, and I feel like you can almost become a better coder that way because you truly have a grasp on all those parts and everything that goes into coding and, getting out charges the right way.
Hey, I want to make this party bigger. So we got Kimberly with us. Hey, Kimberly, you're on mute.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. How y'all doing?
Hello.
We are great. Hey, Kimberly, we have Zoe with us. She has an article in Healthcare Business Monthly that's directed for newly certified coders. And we're talking about that first job and how it may not be in coding, just to get your foot in the door. Did you take a job that led you to coding just to get your foot in the door?
Oh, yes. I definitely started in billing. I was a biller before I even was doing anything with coding, more doing denials and appeals, and even working in the claims processing way back in the day when we used to have to do that to get the claims out. And I definitely believe in that. And even if it's medical records, like if you get a job in medical records, I say do that until something come available in coding, because all of it is preparing you, right? You can take little bits of all of it. And when you put it all together, it just makes you a well-rounded business of healthcare professional, right? You can do a little bit of all of it.
Zoe, what other tips do you have in your article?
I think, one of the tips I had in the article was networking, getting involved in your local chapter, because word of mouth, not everything is going to be posted online, available positions. Sometimes a company is still having the discussion of if they want to add another team member, and maybe they have you in mind now because you talked about it. You went to the chapter meeting, you had that open discussion. They're like, actually, I know someone. And for companies, that makes their job a lot easier if they don't have to go through the whole interview process, posting online or, wherever. And, I think networking is extremely important. And even if you're not in the field, making sure that you're still staying up to date with what's going on and the coding changes. You want to stay on top of that. You don't want to kind of, I'm not in the field, so I'll just, let this off to the side. And when I get a job, then I'll become, refamiliarize myself. But it's important to kind of maintain your knowledge. So that if there's a coding test, I include that in the article. A lot of employers, they do have coding tests as a part of their interview process, and sometimes they will include different, kind of like the nitty gritty of like payer rules sometimes as a part of a coding test. And you're like, how does this apply to me? This isn't, when you're in school, you're used to like, okay, what's the code? Not necessarily what's the payer rule, but through, staying up to date and learning, you get that kind of information through our webinars and things like that with AAPC. So just, I think networking and staying up to date, those are, some more important things. And just being open.
We could spend a lot of time talking about networking. Let's take a few minutes to do that right now. Thoughts on networking, Zoe?
I think there's various ways to do it. We have a lot of different, communities on Facebook now, specific to certifications. Like, I know I'm a part of one that's orthopedic coders. There's the AAPC group, there's so many ways to connect with people in the field. LinkedIn, there's a ton of groups, people, there's podcasts, and there's this open conversation with people electronically, but also in person. You have your chapter meetings. that you can get involved, talk to people there, and even joining the chapter. I know a lot of times the chapters each year, we are, please volunteer to be a board member. So that we get some, fresh faces, and it's not always the same people every year, and, more people can experience that. And I think that is such a benefit, because through that, being on the board, you have to also find speakers, and you're navigating that area of like who's out there that we know of that is willing to present on different topics. And you're connecting with those people. I know personally I've been able to connect that way, and when I've had an orthopedic question, I know, okay, I had, there was a speaker one time who touched on orthopedic. She said she had experience. I'm going to reach out to her with this question that I'm not sure about. And even if you're not on the board, just going to those meetings, you can introduce yourself to the speaker, and you gain those connections that are just really invaluable.
More than once, I've had people come up to me at a chapter meeting and say, I'm looking for a job. If you hear anything, I'm looking, here's my resume. And a few minutes later, somebody will come up and say, hey, if you hear anyone who's looking, I need to fill this spot. And it's like, oh, Amy, meet Barb. Barb, meet Amy. Why don't you two go talk for a minute? And now those two people are still working together. It's the power of networking and throwing yourself out there.
Right. Oh, yes, I definitely, I agree with that, Missy. And it's funny that you say that, because even literally today, I was talking to one of my old physicians about a whole different instance. And she was like, just in case, I'm looking for someone in this role. And I just had a member that was saying, I'm not real sure where I'm gonna fit in. I'm new, I'm an apprentice, and I'm gonna connect them. And so it's all about the networking. I currently am working for the company that I'm in because of my networking with my local chapter. Me and one of the officers connected, and she brought me into this company, and I actually left, came back, and now I have years of experience working with this one hospital company here in my area. And it was all because of networking with the local chapter.
Jackie, any thoughts from you regarding networking, or any thoughts about newly certified coders?
I can just tag on to what everyone is saying. I mean, I am such a huge proponent of local chapters, and before I became a consultant, that's how I heard about any job that I was in. And again, always have to pause and remind people, I started before HIPAA. So even in local chapters, if I was just trying to gather more knowledge, there were practices who just wanted me can you just code our hospital visits? And I could go and pick up charts or notes and put them in my car and take them home, way back before him. And you just got that knowledge. So everything came through my local chapter. And then when I became a consultant, that's how I heard that different practices were inquiring about audit needs. And it just grows and grows. And just like Missy, I felt like I've never been a matchmaker for couples, but I have been a matchmaker for people and jobs forever, putting people with jobs through the local chapter, listening, just like you said, and like, oh yeah, that works, and putting people back, with jobs, and that they stay with forever. So, everything you're saying in your articles is so correct, because we have such a huge networking environment. I mean, AAPC was built on that. Their foundation is those local chapters, the networking, the education. And from that is just changed with time. So yes, we have all our Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube channels as well to keep us always informed together. But at the local chapters are the heart and soul of that. And I can't stress those enough. That's just what we do.
And I want to tack onto that, because Zoe, you said something about, we're always clamoring for people to please volunteer, please be part of the chapter. And I have a lot of people saying, I want to do it. Like, I want to help, but I don't know anybody who could come and speak. I don't know anybody who would. It's like, you know what? We have a huge network of folks. We need you and we need your energy and we need your thoughts.
Right.
And we have a network of people that we can find to come speak. That's not the issue. And there's always ways that we can get speakers. It's getting people to stand up who got the energy, who want to bring something new and different to the chapters. That's what we need.
So,
Yes,
right.
I
And I
did say
think,
that. Yeah, those bright ideas, right? Because I
Yep.
tell everybody, they're always like, oh, you do such a great job. We love your chapter. I'm like, yes, but I need your bright ideas, right? Because when you keep seeing the same things from me, that's just my limited Kimberlyisms, right? But I want to get more. We need to broaden that because so many of our chapter members have so much to offer, and it's just the little things. I tell them that all the time. It's like, it's just the little things, and we're always going to walk beside you. That's another thing. I think a lot of them sometimes are fearful that they're going to get thrown in a role and they won't know where to go. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be here, right? I'm always
Yep.
going to be connected to the local chapter. But it's nice to get fresh blood and fresh ideas.
right. And I, in regards to that as well, I think it can be intimidating for brand new coders to think, I don't have enough experience to be on the board. You don't have to have years of experience to be on the board. And like you said, there's people there to support you. And also, I'm a big fan of, if something's scary, that's more reason to do it, because you're probably going to grow the most from it. So, I think go for it, jump it. That's what I was nervous when I did it. It was one of those situations where, like, the board was begging people, please. And I was so nervous, and I did it. And you grow so much. And now you have a whole new skill set that you didn't have before. Um,
And I
and
love
I,
the nerves. I say the nerves part, it's humbling, right? Every time I tell everybody, no matter how many times I speak, get before the chapter, do things, there's always a sense of nervousness. But I think that's good nerves, right?
Right.
It humbles you and makes sure that you're doing things to excellence because you're doing it to support others and you're paying it forward.
I think the
Right.
day we stop being nervous is the day to stop. You want a little bit of nerves, you do, just for all the reasons that you're saying, Kimberly. I mean, you do. It means that you take it very seriously. It's not that I'm nervous because I don't know my subject matter. I'm nervous because I want it to be the best it can be. And I'm hoping that it's delivering, whether I'm the president of the chapter and I'm holding a meeting, or if I was the person who was supposed to get speakers, did I get topics that people wanted?
That's
But that's a good nervous to have.
Mhm.
I've been an officer in 3 different chapters, and I have never felt like I was alone. If nothing else, you have the whole AAPC team behind you. And with Marty at the helm, you can't go wrong. She's there to answer the question, take care of you've got the BOD who have representatives to help you at any time. When it comes to local chapters, it really is just upping your networking game. Really, it's just if you have the time, and it really doesn't create a lot of extra time in your world, but if this is your time, now some people, this isn't your time. You've got a lot of young children. Your
Mhm.
time will come at a different pace. I waited until, it all happens when it's supposed to.
Yeah. I agree.
and I think also it's important to remind chapter members, especially the new ones, that you can come to your board members for your local chapter, with questions. I had people come to me for resume help. They hadn't worked in a number of years. They were deciding to get back into the work field. They got certified and they were like, where do I even begin? Or, can you review my resume? I know I don't want to speak for everyone, but I feel like a lot of the board members would be happy to, look over your resume and give tips and tricks and, what terminology to include. And because a lot of times the computers are kind of filtering through resumes these days, and they're picking up keywords. And if you
That's
don't
right.
have them, they might get dumped. So,
Mhm.
we can help you to say, hey, maybe include ICD-10, CPT, words like that on your resume so that the computer will pick them up and,
Yeah.
it doesn't unnecessarily get tossed out.
Yeah, and then for me, a lot of times it's all of two. That's another part of networking. There's a lady that I try to make sure at least once a year I circle Annie Barnaby into one of our chapter meetings, because she does all of the resume updates. I think her company's called Project Resume. I hope I got that right. It escapes me, but sorry, Annie. But yes, and so I always try to make sure I circle someone like that in, right? Because we do have the new coders coming in, or even just someone, maybe you've been on your job for 10 years and now you're having to get back out because unfortunately we're in the season of layoffs, right? And so, I always try to make sure of that. So that's just another reason to stay connected with your chapter. You can get those resources.
See, you had your hand raised a minute ago.
Oh, I was just clapping for
Okay.
what was
Okay.
being said,
All right.
but I'll tag in on that, because as the president of our local chapter, when I started the chapter, because I'm one of the founding officers of our chapter, we tied ourselves to a recruiting firm. So once a year, we have our recruiting firm come in and they do resume reviews, they do mock interviews, and we always do it right around the time that the insurance companies are getting ready to start hiring for HEDIS, because then my CPC-As have first crack at those positions, because our recruiter just finished looking at their resumes and doing all those mock interview things. So 100%, it's another reason to be involved with your local chapter.
That's fantastic.
Mm.
Can I just add one thing real quick? Sorry, I'm going to step off of local chapters for just a moment and go back to something that Zoe was saying at the very beginning. Never think that by just getting your foot in the door, you'll never get to where you want to be, because you will be the stronger person by having all that background. I mean, I literally was thrown into an office and just was like, learn everything. Okay, so I worked the front desk, this was before computers, work the front desk, scheduled by hand, answer phone calls, pull records for the day, key in with those dummy terminals, just key in whatever was happening that day, closing it out, and really seeing the process of what today we call a highfalutin revenue cycle, but seeing it from the ground, up, this is how the process is. Patients come in, they go out, claims go. So any part of that is important. There isn't a place that's not important.
Absolutely. And I think it gives us an appreciation, right? Because I'm going to tell you, I was like you, and I worked for a small OBGYN office. So I don't know if you've ever worked for a small practice, but you kind of do it all. Like you don't have all these little titles and roles. It's like wherever they need you. So I was the insurance department manager. So if someone called in at the front desk, guess who was doing front desk? Me, right? So it made you humble and it made you appreciate the front desk. And I don't know if you've ever worked in a high volume office, but just being able to stay cool while you're answering those telephone calls.
Right. You learn a lot.
That is a skill that requires some huge achievement. So it really makes you appreciate each other's roles.
Right.
Hey, if you're watching and you're CPC-A looking to break through, let us know in the comments. Let us know what the biggest challenge that you're facing is, and we'd love to help you answer a few questions if you got them. Zoe, thank you so much for being with us. I have one more question for you, Zoe, but first I'm going to go to Lee. Lee, what was your, what article other than Zoe's, and we're not playing favorites here, but is there an article, because we all love Zoe's article. Lee, is there an article that jumped out to you in this month's Healthcare Business Monthly?
Yeah, I liked the one right after Zoe's. It's called Lead Your Employees Through Challenging Transitions. I mean, I think most people have been there where you've been at a company, any kind of company, not even in the medical field, where a big transition or change happens, and kind of all you're given are, okay, these are the new processes and this is the new system, and we're going to train you on technical stuff. And, you don't get a lot of the background. Why is it happening? What are the changes? Because people get nervous, they get fearful, they don't know what's going to happen. And, the article is about just how it's very important to also talk about the emotional and psychological challenges that come up with that kind of change. And Patricia Shirley wrote that article. It's very good. It's just about communication, not just telling somebody what's going to happen, but giving them the background and helping them understand what's coming down the road for them. It helps avoid resistance to changes and because people get very, very nervous when things change. So I thought that was a very good article as well.
Thanks, Lee. Zoe, I see a skeleton picture, a skull picture behind you. Hold on. Is this
Oh.
Halloweeny, or is it your anatomy stuff for your?
Yeah, that's just my
Healthcare.
anatomy. On the other,
Right.
well, yeah, it's shown the opposite side here, but yeah, on the other side, I have like the full skeleton too. That's the anatomy. So
Cool. Well-
I guess it works for both Halloween and that, but yeah.
Okay, well, the serious question and discussion we had before you joined us was Halloween costumes. Are you a Halloween person? And if so, what will you be dressing up as?
Well, so I do love Halloween and I love passing out candy to the kids. And in my neighborhood, that doesn't happen as much anymore. So I try to like have a ridiculous amount of candy to pass out to the kids so that they can, get extra from us. But I am going to dress up for Halloween this year and I have been struggling. I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I dressed up as Santa Claus? Or
Oh, that's a great idea.
so that's on the table for me, or like Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast, because long time ago I was Mrs. Potts in a musical in high school. So I was like, we'll revive that maybe. So the options are endless, and yeah, it'll be a surprise to me too.
Yeah. All right. Well, Zoe, thanks for being with us. Lee, any Halloween activities on your end?
A little bit. I'm in a huge neighborhood, so we have tons of kids. But unfortunately, I've been working from home for 7 years, so dressing up is kind of like, well, who am I dressing up for? So I've certainly gotten out of the costume game, but definitely we'll be very, very busy with the kids on Halloween.
Okay, fun. Thanks for being with us, Lee.
Okay,
Appreciate you.
thank you.
Okay, we'll see you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, guys, that was fun. We had a good discussion about, I hope there are CPC-As here. In fact, there is one. Jill Beard says, hello, everyone. I'm a new CPC-A as of September. So very recently certified.
Congratulations.
This is a new career field that I'm entering into. How do I network and connect when my local chapter holds online meetings? That's interesting because we are much more virtual than ever since the pandemic. And I've spoken with several coders who have made connections that have led to a new position from networking in the AAPC Facebook group. And if I were you, Jill, I would, and I hope you guys are okay with this panel and everybody watching, but I would make these connections on LinkedIn with everybody here. Jackie, Missy, Kimberly. There's so many great individuals who are willing to help, ask questions. And even though your chapter is virtual or hosting a lot of virtual meetings, I would reach out to your local chapter, ask them, how can I help you? Any opportunity to make those connections is worthwhile. Any thoughts from our panel here?
Speak up at the chapter meetings, even if they're virtual. Speak up in the chat, speak up, come off of mute and talk. We've been virtual for the last, 2 years, but I can still tell you who the active newbies are in our chapter because they make themselves known. And we actually just did our first in-person meeting in a long time. We had a great time. And we had a lot of people come those were the faces that I've seen on the other side of the computer who came for our in-person. So, and we have an entirely new board for 2024. all new people who came and who've been networking with us for the last 10 months. So
Yes, and I encourage it. I will share my story. I literally got the job I have networking smack in the middle of COVID. And it was remote. Everybody was shut down. It was with November of 2020. So we were still in like a shutdown mode. So I do think you can still make your presence known and communicate. And actually it may almost be better, because now you can go across your limitations of just your inner city, right? Because I know a lot of companies, they're in other states and they're hiring. Like I saw the other day, someone was looking into people in Texas, and they were in other cities, like neighboring cities like Oklahoma and Louisiana. And so now we have the ability to be able to apply for remote positions, even in other states. So I say still, don't be discouraged. Encourage yourself. That's another statement article in the Business Monthly for AAPC by Colleen, I think it was. And so you have to encourage yourself and look for avenues to be able to network. And always, again, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, get a LinkedIn profile and constantly be on there, because that is one space where people are constantly looking, and you will find opportunities there, and go for it. You're going to find something.
Absolutely.
Don't be discouraged.
I think for your local chapter, definitely it's different when you want to go meet people and you're newly certified and you actually want to meet someone. And I think we're all learning how to work around that virtual world. You could even contact the member relations officer in your chapter and say, hey, I'm newly certified. I'm starting to attend the meetings now. Do you have any suggestions on, or do you have anything coming up where maybe some of us new people could introduce ourselves, and then put it in the chat? Maybe there's somebody in that chapter that actually lives close to you and you don't know that. And maybe y'all could meet. Maybe there could be a small little meeting of individuals who maybe do live close together, and y'all could meet, and you can just put it out there. Hey, I'd like to form a whatever group. Anybody in this area? You don't have to give out your address, this area. So there are ways to do it, because you would do the same thing if you were in person.
That's right. And that's a great idea, Jackie. I love that, because you don't have to always have the scheduled big monthly meeting, right? I know Caitlin, she has a luncheon call that she's doing right now too, where people can just jump on at noon and you talk over lunch, right? And different people network that way. So there's a lot of opportunities.
There are. You just, reach out, check with your member relations, speaker, just somebody is one of the officers, and find out what's coming up.
we always ask at our chapter meeting, who's new?
Right.
Who's new? Is this your first meeting? Who got a new certification this month? So that we can celebrate those people and really try to welcome them.
Really
Kim,
nice.
I think you were at our last meeting when we were doing that.
I love when I can have those virtual road trips. I try.
Aren't they wonderful? It's so easy too.
Yes, I love it. That's why I said I know people are struggling, and I am a connection person. In case y'all didn't figure that out, right? I love meeting people and connecting. So I like the in-person. But I know some people, especially my chapter members, I've polled them, and a lot of them are still uneasy about meeting in person. And so we just have to overcome that. But there's still a way. Don't get discouraged. And yeah, people are still wanting to network with you, and they're willing, like you said, to meet you just one-on-one. You don't have to have the big meeting.
Kiwanis Mitchell says she hardly uses LinkedIn. And if you don't, I highly recommend you dressing up your profile, have a professional picture for your profile picture, and show off your skills. And you may not have coding, like a resume of coding history to share yet, but there are things you've probably done in your other work roles throughout your career that you could share that could apply. And Kiwanis, I would not hesitate to connect with every coder, especially in your area, that you can on LinkedIn. And just when you reach out to them to say, hey, I'm Kiwanis Mitchell. I just recently certified, and I just love to pick your brain and ask questions, be curious. And that makes a great coder too, right? Asking
Mhm.
questions, being curious, and solving problems. So you're using those skills. And the hard part is with the exam, it's very I don't know if formulated is the right word, but structured. So there are steps and exact things that you need to know that lead to this outcome. With finding a job, it's an art. There are nobody's journey is alike. There are many paths to that first job, but building those relationships and asking others, again, being an investigator, ask them what their journey was like, what are roles like in your area and beyond.
And I promote LinkedIn because I know the name of it escapes me right now, but there's even different people that promote their podcasts on LinkedIn, and they do one for new certified coders. They do it for new people, not even just the medical coding arena, for any entity they're trying to get connected. And so that's why I always say, get on LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, and you don't have to do a lot, like Alex say, get you a professional picture, put you a few things out there, but definitely start that connecting and networking, because that's how, even just awareness of the different opportunities that are out there, that is one good way to get it.
Yes, there's a lot of comments coming through. Thank you for everybody helping out the other questions that are coming through the chat. But yeah, there's so many different ways, again, to approach finding that first job. Go into the AAPC Facebook group, ask these questions, be curious, and the videos on the YouTube channel, on AAPC's YouTube channel. So there's a playlist for I Am AAPC. There's a newer playlist called Starting Points, where we focus on those who found their first position within the first 6 months. Because that's unique, and we want to see how they did that. So, all right.
I didn't get the memo. Y'all didn't tell me y'all were going to be doing the AAPC swag shirts.
It's the easiest thing to wear, and I love they fit so nice and they're so comfortable.
I love my AAPC logo.
I know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull mine out and keep it handy.
These are great, especially when you're teaching and you're like, oh, I thought I'd just throw this on now. Right? So it's the easiest thing in the world to put on and wear and flaunt the stuff.
Yes, I'm gonna have to get me some swag.
Kimberly, just
and my background so nobody can see my office.
Yeah,
I know. I love that. I love that too, Missy. I'm gonna have to reach out to
smart.
you got that from. That looks.
That was the Gaylord, and that was
like
very,
yeah.
I love that. Very nice.
Hey, Mallory Leonard has a professional coding question.
Yes.
And she says, are there any resources on the new HCC model next year, 2024? You guys know that?
I don't know what they are, but I know someone was telling me that they needed to look at those, but that's more, there's got to be out there, but it would be on the CMS website, but I'm really just talking off of my
I saw
head.
something about a V28 model, something like that. But unfortunately, HCC, I'm gonna be honest, that is not my wheelhouse. I am not a risk adjust coder, but I did see something about a new model that's
I know there is.
play.
Yeah.
But yes,
So
CMS would be a good resource.
Yeah, so we're converting from version 24 to version 28 starting in January. And it's going to be a huge shift in which diagnosis codes actually will risk adjust for 2024 under the new version. If you want to reach out to me, see, here we go with networking.
Yeah.
If you want to reach out to me, I can give you some of the resources that I have. As I'm still learning, I'm still diving into it to learn all of the changes myself.
Yes.
I tell them lifetime learners, right? And that's what I tell everybody. It's like when all this new stuff come out, don't feel bad. You're saying I'm just a new coder. I'm just an apprentice. When this new information come out, we're all on the same platform. We're learning together. So yeah, we all have to dive in and learn.
Good point.
And Wilson.
I'm not sure who asked that question, but I just dropped my email into the chat.
Okay, that was Mallory. Mallory Leonard looked for that from Missy. Andrew Wilson says, she's just recommending that we post a link of this webcast recording so the officers can share it in their chapter pages. Yeah, we can. So that's a great idea. This will live on AAPC's Facebook page. All of these webcasts live there, AAPC Social Hours, but I can post these. I'm going to post a link to this webcast in the local chapter officers Facebook group. So it's just ready for you, and you can just drop it into your chapter's Facebook page or Facebook group, or wherever you want to share that. So hopefully that helps. All right. Kimberly, what are you doing for Halloween? We never talked about your costume.
I know, I'm gonna tell you, it's so funny. I'm gonna be honest. I am not a big Halloween person as far as decorating, but I do love the trick or treat aspect. My husband, on the other hand, he's all about it, and he gets all involved with the kids. So if you were to look on my Facebook, on my social media, you'll see we all were dressed up in mummy pajamas last year. My husband come up with all these themes, and he loves to take the whole family in. He literally would buy for me, my daughters, my grandkids, and we all embrace it. So we haven't talked about it. I don't know what I'm gonna be.
Surprise.
I'm sure it's gonna be something, but I'm like Zoe. I love to get all the fun candy, all the cheese balls that come in the cute little Halloween bags at Sam's, and I love passing that stuff out. And we do that every year. So I do love that part of it, of seeing all the kids come. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna have to be. Y'all gonna have to wait and see. But it's gonna be something, because
Yeah.
he dresses us up every year.
That's funny.
I have to confess, my kids are getting a little older. I've got one who's really trick-or-treater anymore, and I can't steal the candy from them as easily as I used to. So yeah, I gotta find some other kid to bully on the street to get my
Now we
candy.
do the trunk or treat. I do love
Ooh.
that too. So my neighborhood and my church, we do this trunk or treat thing where everybody dress up the back of their trunks. So I love seeing that part of it. That's a good one too. So I love seeing all the people that be creative, right? And decorating the back of their
Yeah. Yeah, and going into our industry with it, like every Halloween season, I see pictures pop up of coding related, healthcare related costumes. So some individuals like to be tight-lipped about such things, but if you're willing to share in this chat, please do. And if not that, hey, you got a little buddy
Look
there.
who's here.
Can I have some of your Halloween candy? Yes,
Okay, sorry, y'all. I have this 6-year-old here with me today. I've been trying to keep her at bay, but I tell you, she doesn't follow directions good.
That's all right. More
This
the
is
merrier.
my Sage Dylan. You want to say hi? All right.
Hey, Sage.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Whoa.
Sage took care of
Oopsie.
that.
That's right.
There you are.
But share if you have a healthcare coding related costume in the works. Share that when you do that in the APC Facebook group, or message me, and I'd love to share those on our Instagram page. So please.
Have we gotten a lot of videos with people dressed as Ken and Barbie
Yeah,
for our
no,
AAPC
isn't that
contest?
exciting? I just
Thanks.
saw that the other day. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is too exciting.
So Missy, thanks for bringing that up. So on Instagram and in the Facebook group, there are posts sharing a contest that we're having. It runs through next week, I believe, where you can win an AAPC membership for a year. And I think there's a AuditCon registration in there, but you just have to share in the comments in the Facebook group a picture of your best Ken or Barbie. And there
I
are a
am
few
not
pictures.
sharing that with my husband.
Yeah.
I'll send Joe a message later.
No,
Yeah.
don't do it, Missy.
not.
Don't do it.
Hey, Kenya Williams says, any advice for HEDIS preparation? HEDIS. I'm not familiar with that. Are you guys?
Missy is.
That's where we eat, sleep, and breathe right now. HEDIS is the
that time of
health
year.
effectiveness data information set. It's how our providers prove that they're doing good quality work with their patients by identifying gaps that they've closed. They've gotten blood pressures down, they've gotten hemoglobin A1Cs under control. Really brush up with your CPT2 codes. Really look at those HEDIS gaps that your insurance carriers put out. They all have their HEDIS manuals. Make sure that you're using those CPT2 codes to close those gaps. Most of the plans will take CPT2, so our codes that end in F, or our diagnosis codes that will help to close those gaps. That's how 90% of our gaps are going to be closed right now.
Okay, thanks, Missy. I love this because we've covered like newbies and we're covering some veteran type coder questions. So yeah, I love it. All right, well, guys, we're to the end. We made it.
Another successful social hour.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. That's
Absolutely.
right. Well, just thinking before we log off, what do we have coming up? AuditCon's coming up.
AuditCon's coming beginning of November.
Okay. I guess recently the new I-10 codes went into effect.
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
October 1st.
October 1st.
Are you guys aware of any big changes that in a section that our members should be aware of if they aren't?
And there's
So
a lot
it's
of
funny.
those external injury, there's
Yes.
over 100
I know.
of new ICD-10 codes in that area, so. you
Yeah.
might wanna familiarize-
123, not that we're counting.
Yeah.
And
Um,
that's extra.
Interesting that we just finished, we were talking to one of our clinicians about some of the new codes, and we were talking about resistant hypertension.
Mhm, mhm.
And he kind of went, I don't have patients with resistant, what are you talking about? And the very next day he had a patient with resistant hypertension, and he came in and he went, what was that code again that you told me I was supposed to be using? So patients with resistant hypertension, they have persistent hypertension. They're on 3 or more medications where they are at the maximum dose and their hypertension is still uncontrolled.
That's right.
So really important thing that we're able to identify, because we suspect that anywhere between 20 to 40% of our patients with hypertension don't have just hypertension. They are resistant hypertension patients. So I suspect that's one that we're going to be seeing a lot of.
Okay.
And just read your guidelines, right? Go get them. You can
Yes.
Google them.
You can
and read
download them, have the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Make sure
That's
you read them.
And if you don't have your 2024 code books yet,
Download them.
maybe, yeah, download them, hop into Codify. There's a free trial that could kind of cover you for a week or so. And yeah, this is get on top of that. And obviously we're excited about HealthCon in April. Our team, Dave, Sophia, Melissa, and Jessica, they were all down there last week, I believe, just checking out the venue. It's beautiful. And yeah, so a lot going on, you guys, but we're headed into the fall for sure, or we're in the fall, and looking forward to what's to come. So, okay,
Yeah.
Jackie, Missy, Kimberly, hang out with me just for a minute. Everybody, thanks again for watching. You can watch this on the Facebook page where you're at now, or you can hop in to YouTube. I'll post it there in the next day or two. And we'll also have it on the podcast. So if you search for the AAPC podcast, we'll have it there. All right. Thanks for your time, everybody. We will see
Yeah.
you
Have a
in
good
2
day.
weeks.
Y'all have a wonderful
Bye, guys.
Wednesday.